Well, it's 9 o'clock, so that means it's time for Daybreak Plus on WGRZ Plus. And within the next hour and a half, crews will put the final beam in place at the new Bills Stadium.
Yeah, it is a big day for the Bills, for the thousands of crew members who've been working on this stadium, and for Bills Mafia who are watching this take shape after years and years of discussion. And we've got two crews live in Orchard Park right now as the largest construction project in Western New York history completes that major milestone today with the final steel beam being erected. In just a few minutes, our Natalie Foss will give us a look at what we can expect when all is said and done. But first, we want to get to our Nate Benson. And Nate, this really has been years in the making. Good morning.
Good morning, Pete and Melissa. Nice to be back on my Daybreak roots. I started my career on Daybreak. Nice to see you guys this bright and beautiful morning. Yeah, absolutely electric scene here at the new Buffalo Bills Stadium. As you can see behind me, crews signing the final beam. Everyone excited to just be part of what has been dubbed the largest construction project in Western New York history. Now, there's some important context there. That's in terms of dollars. Right now, this stadium is edging out at just about $2.2 billion. So certainly from a cost standpoint, the largest project in Western New York history. And joining me now is the president of the Erie County Stadium Corporation, Steve Rinaldi. Obviously, this is a very big day for everybody.
Oh, it's a great day. You know, it's a major milestone to hit this point. But there's been so much progress on this stadium over the last year and a half. And halfway point today, steel's finished. It's an exciting moment.
What's been the most exciting part of this whole project? Because, I mean, groundbreaking in June of 2023, and then just about 18 months later, here we are.
Yeah, isn't it the speed of a project like this in Buffalo? Like, you know, we talk about a lot of these projects, we plan for a lot of these projects. This is a project that's coming to fruition quickly.
Now, for those who don't know, what is the Erie County Stadium Corporation?
Well, we are the state entity that is overseeing construction from the state's perspective, and then once the stadium is complete, all the property out here gets transferred from the county to the state, and so the Stadium Corporation will own and operate the stadium from that point forward.
Obviously, we're here to put up the last beam today. What's next? Obviously, a lot of interior work, I would imagine.
Yeah, you're going to see a big transformation on the exterior too. We're going to be putting up the precast panels, a lot of the glass panels as well. So the exterior gets wrapped, if you will, over the next few months while everything's happening on the inside.
And certainly that timeline, 2026, is still on target.
Yeah, totally on target with the schedule. Like I said, you know, the governor pushed hard to get, cap us at $600 million to push the schedule to get this thing done by 2026. And, we're on schedule and on budget.
And the Bills earlier this week released kind of the timeline for the old Highmark Stadium. What can you tell us about the deconstruction of that?
Yeah, it's a process in and of itself. I was, lucky enough to be involved with the AUG when we took that down at Canal Side. And so that is its own process. And yeah, it's excited for that to sort of get going next.
Talk about the sheer workforce here at the stadium. I mean, pretty much most of the Western New York construction workforce is working on this project right now.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of folks that are doing other jobs around town. Listen, we've got over 1,200 people on site now. We're going to peak out at a little over 1,500 in a month. And, we're going to create over 10,000 jobs on this project. So it's got a huge, huge impact on the labor force here in Western New York.
Obviously an exciting day for you and everyone. Thank you much, Steve, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Pete and Melissa, obviously a very electric day here at the new Buffalo Bills Stadium. As just about an hour from now, the ceremony will begin. They'll be topping off the beam. The governor will be here, as well as dignitaries from the Buffalo Bills, and pretty much every politician in Western New York has a place here under the tent where they will be, obviously shaking hands. And I know a few of them are running for election. I'm sure they'll be pulling for some votes too. But back to you guys in the studio here from the new Buffalo Bills Stadium.
Yeah, sources tell us there will be about 2,000 people there today for this topping out ceremony. Some people call it topping off. The Bills are calling it their topping out ceremony. But certainly the 1,200 workers who are there on site today will all be there for part of this ceremony. And they've been there for the last hour signing that steel beam that will be going up, the final steel beam in this big project.
A lot of signatures on that for sure. Just the last time we had something like this was Marine Midland Arena, and there was a 7-year-old named Patrick Kane that put his signature on that final beam too. So kind of interesting.
Look what he's
stuff.
become.
Yeah, he did okay. All right, well, this is something that obviously has been in the works for years now, and once it's complete, Bills Mafia will be treated to a much more modern experience, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of bells and whistles that go along with the new stadium compared to the old one that we've got right now. We're taking a closer look at what fans have to look forward to once they're inside the stadium. And for more on that, let's go out live to Natalie Foss this morning. Hi there, Natalie. With Billy Buffalo behind you.
Hey there, Pete, Melissa. Well, it's a beautiful day. Yes, there is Billy Buffalo, I think, just signed the beam, and out here we have over 1,200 workers that, you know, they're signing the beam before they have to get back to work on this stadium. They said that they were here, they were taking pictures, everybody from engineers to the safety team to the scheduling team are all coming out here to make sure that their name becomes a part of history. And it's really hard to believe that just over a year ago, the stadium was just a hole in the ground, and now, according to the Bills Stadium Events Company, it's more than halfway done. In August of 2021, the Bills officially submitted plans for a $1.4 billion stadium. The stadium is now running about $560 million over budget at $2.1 billion, not too bad. Public funds are not going to be used to cover that overage, though. Construction began back in June of 2023 with the ceremonial groundbreaking, and today is the very exciting halfway point with the final beam of structural steel topping off the stadium. Now, when all is said and done, we can expect the new Bills Stadium to be ready for the 2026 Bills season. Now, I'd be remiss to not mention that the expected demolition of the current Highmark Stadium, is expected to take place in March of 2027, so just under 2 years from now. Some things that we can look forward to in the new stadium, of course, is there's going to be really good heating, which is very exciting for all of those cold games. Not on a day like today when it's sunny and beautiful, but we can look forward to that when we're sitting next year in January in that nice freezing cold current Highmark Stadium. And there's going to be a ton of room to hang out. One of the new designs was really designed with Western New York in mind. One of the designers said that this is not necessarily something that would work in a larger city, you know, a little bit more posh, where people are dressing up to go to games. But here in Western New York, where it is all about that environment, they wanted to make sure that this was all about the Bills Mafia and all about the fan experience as well. So that's something that is really important when we're thinking about that new stadium. So there's lots of things to look forward to, and of course, everybody here is just excited for that halfway point, the expected opening date. They're hoping to open in July of 2026 to get some events going on in there. But of course, that 2026 Bills season is the expected day where we're going to see the Buffalo Bills, playing on that field inside of the brand new stadium. Pete, Melissa, I'm going to send it back over to you for now, and we'll check back in a little bit later.
Yeah, it would be really nice if they capped off the old stadium with a run to the Super Bowl, bring that Super Bowl victory home, and have the award ceremony and
banner raising
in the new stadium. Wouldn't that all make a lot of sense?
That sounds like a Hollywood script. And
yes.
You know what? We've got a Hollywood star in the Bills Mafia now too, so she could star in that role.
Yes.
Nice.
We know that the Hallmark Channel is here, and they're going to be doing some filming in the old stadium for the Christmas movie that's going to be about the Bills. It's lots of excitement around here.
Keep the cameras rolling. Keep the cameras rolling. All right, time now. We're going to take a switch in gears and check in on our forecast, taking a live look outside in downtown Buffalo. And Patrick said it's going to shape up to be a nice day. And
and out there in Orchard Park, Patrick, bright blue skies.
And there will be signs in front of the stadium that say no dressing up.
No dressing up.
No, we're not posh enough.
Nope.
As you're there with a pocket square and elbow patches on your nice corduroy jacket.
If you walk into this new stadium with an elbow patch, you will be escorted out immediately.
Unless it's functional. Unless it's functional, not fashionable.
You clearly don't fit in here. Good morning, everyone. A beautiful day, as Natalie was showing us. Full sunshine in Orchard Park and elsewhere. Beautiful, 54 tomorrow. Not so much. Construction crews will be navigating raindrops there, and everyone else too. It's going to be wet on Saturday, at least most of Saturday. There will be some dry periods in there as well. And that'll be like midday. So rain to start the day, probably rain to finish the day. Mostly and sunny and mild today. A rainy Saturday, dry and cool on Sunday, and a wintry Tuesday is on tap, okay? There's a kind of a cool shot. This is a satellite view of before construction began. There's, of course, Highmark. There's the stadium, or soon will be. And as you can see, very close to the lake. Weather has always played a role at Highmark. It still will play a role. at the new stadium, but maybe less of a role due to the construction of the stadium. Okay, there are some of the thin high clouds that are moving out. A really nice looking day today, but we are watching this, all of this rain in North Texas and Oklahoma. That's what's coming here tomorrow. Future look does show dry weather today. Looks pretty good. 50s. We were in the 60s yesterday, 50s today, close to 60 tomorrow, but it'll be rainy, especially in the morning. We may get a break, and then it comes back in the afternoon and evening, and maybe even a rumble of thunder. The good news for the weekend is that Sunday is trending drier, so a usable day, just a lot cooler on Sunday. Okay, future look today, fine. No issues whatsoever. Tonight we clouded up, as you can see here. The rain arrives in the wee hours of the morning, but most likely as you get up in the morning, it's going to be soaking. There are signs that the rain may ease back a little bit, but not for long. It'll return full force in the late afternoon and evening, a wet Saturday night. But notice on Sunday, mainly dry, it appears, as the rain will shift east of the area. It is going to be a soaking rain. Many areas approaching an inch of rain. Boy, aggressively, this solution brings up more than that. So we'll have to watch the chances of maybe some ponding issues or maybe even some rising creeks and rivers, because we're going to get some rain out of this. This is tomorrow, highs in the upper 50s, close to 60. Sunday, low 40s, so a lot cooler. And then, do you guys want to hear about snow?
No, thank you.
Should I just move on?
Yeah.
If you gotta, you gotta.
You got it. Got to do it. This is Monday night, Tuesday. We're going to bring in a blast of cooler air in April. It does happen. We can get snow in April. I recall a couple of years ago, we had a few inches in mid-April. This will be again towards the end of the start of the second full week of April. Monday night into Tuesday, a shot at some snow and some breeze and a wintry feel, to be sure. So for today, 54, mostly sunny skies. For tonight, cloudy, rain late, long range forecast, dry weather Sunday, Monday too. There are the snows that are potentially going to be with us Monday night into Tuesday. Minor accumulations, but still, it's April snow. It's going to be cold, and then it warms up a little bit by the middle of next week.
Every April since we've been measuring, so we can't be
That
too
is
surprised
true.
about this.
Just be a little blip in the radar there, bud.
All right, Patrick, thank you. And we'll get back to the stadium topping off ceremony in just a moment. But first, sticking with the Bills theme this morning, James Cook putting his house on the market. It appears the standoff between the running back and the Bills organization is growing during these contract disputes. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It's listed on Hunt Real Estate's website in Orchard Park for $710,000. Lots of memorabilia down there. Probably not staying with the house, though. Those framed jerseys there, lots of footballs, lots of photos. The listing comes as James Cook continues to fight for a $15 million contract extension with the Bills. So I was thinking, why put the house on the market unless you're just trying to send a message? But if he does sign for $15 million, he will probably buy a house worth a little bit more than $710,000.
No doubt about it. And we're going to take a look at both sides this morning. First, from the standpoint of James Cook, it's been reported that Cook is looking for that contract that pays him about $15 million a year. But here's what he had to say on a podcast with Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe earlier this year.
At the end of the day, I feel like we just going against running backs.
Right.
And I feel like we deserve to get paid. And because when they come down to the back end of the season, we play a big part of it. Like, so however they want to take it, then I'm standing with the running back. We deserve it.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong again. Now, it's reported that there were a phone call between a lot of the top running backs, yourself and McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, and I think Josh Jacobs was on that call. When you guys had that call, if you were on that call, what was that discussion?
We valuable and we deserving what we need because we in the trenches every time. When they come down to the scratch, you got to run the ball.
Right.
So it's like how is we not valuable? Like, how is we not valuable? If we can, the back end of the season, you have to run the ball when it's snowing. Y'all don't get 6 feet of snow. So when you put this, like, we got to run the ball. So it's like, what more can you, like, how is we not valuable? Like, at the end of the day, like, his point blank period, and you can see, like, what we do and the position that we play a big part of offenses, like, just period.
Right.
All right, you just heard James Cook's side. Well, what about General Manager Brandon Beane's side of all of this? He's been peppered with questions about Cook's situation. And we have part of what Beane said about Cook during the owners' meetings. He said, I love James, proud of his success, just like these other guys that we got extended. I don't talk about negotiations. I would say his reps and him did put it out there that we did talk, so I'm not sharing anything new. At this point, we're on to the draft. I don't see us doing deals anytime soon. We're going to focus on the draft and get our cap in order.
It's kind of interesting, James Cook's perspective. It's almost like he's a union leader for the union of running backs, not really advocating for himself as much as the position, but, you know, at the same time, asking for $15 million for himself. So
exactly. And yes, he has been successful. He's one of the highest scoring running backs in the league. But we also have Josh Allen, who can also run. We do have, you know, this everybody eats team. A lot of other people to hand the ball off to as well. So while, you know, I do personally hope that James Cook stays with the team, there's a lot of other ways that we can go also.
And, you know, when it comes to negotiations, you start off high. So I'm confident that Brandon Beane, he is just a magician with cap maintenance and figuring things out. So hopefully they'll come up with a deal and everyone will be back in the fold next year shooting for a Super Bowl.
Yep, the draft is only a few weeks away and OTAs and training camp will be here before you know it. And as all of that is happening and there's the behind the scenes wheeling and dealing going on, we've also got the new stadium being built. And again, today is a big day. It's the capping out ceremony with the final steel beam going in place. It seems like just yesterday we were talking about where's the stadium going to go? Is it going to be in the outer harbor? Is it going to be downtown?
Right.
Is it going to stay in Orchard Park? And ultimately, obviously, they chose Orchard Park. And will it have a roof? The next debate. And no, it's going to have a canopy that covers about 60% of the fans who will be in there. It's magnificent to see the process of the stadium being built with 1,200 people working daily on that site to get the stadium up and going. And they're about halfway through construction right now. They hope to have it open by June, July of 2026, all ready to go for the 26-27 Bills season.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable. You know, we're halfway through the construction, but when you start looking at the number of workers and the materials, 26,000 total tons of steel, 1,653,000 feet of conduit. I mean, just the intricacies. They've already got the cast concrete basic structure for the seating. So they're making a lot of progress, and it's interesting to see the difference between the old stadium, underground, and the new stadium just looking like a castle.
Right,
you know?
where the lights go up to the old stadium, that's about where the new stadium, where the seats are in the upper bowl for the new stadium. One of the things that some fans are a little upset about, though, is this stadium, yes, it is so much bigger, it's so much taller, but about 10 to 12,000 fewer seats than the current stadium. Current stadium, 72,000. This one's going to be about 62,000 for capacity. And of course, the PSLs are playing a big role in all of that also. In order to get a seat, you need to buy a PSL, which started around $25,000 to up to $50,000 for some of the most exclusive PSLs. Now they're finally starting to sell the PSLs, personal seat licenses, for the upper bowls. And those seats, we're hearing the PSLs are going for about $2,500 right now. They could drop from there because around the first of the year, The Bills said that they sold 11,093 PSLs. That was New Year's Eve. They want to sell 58,353 PSLs. In order to do that, they're really going to have to drop the price. And so a lot of fans are waiting for that. But if you want a PSL, you had to sign up and put down a deposit and get on the list in order to have the stadium experience to see what that looks like and where you want to buy your seat. Big, long process to get the PSL.
Yeah, and also we've talked to Kevin O'Neill, who's a season ticket holder, and he says he's in the upper seats, and he hasn't even gotten his PSL price yet, or his tour. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But right now, we are celebrating the halfway point and the topping off ceremony at the stadium.
And our Nate Benson's out there to show us what's happening. We've had some crew construction members signing the final steel beam. We're expecting up to 2,000 people, including not just the workers, but lots of dignitaries as well. Nate, what else can we expect today? What's going on out there?
Yeah, good morning, Pete and Melissa. The hottest new club here in Western New York is the topping off ceremony here at the new Bills Stadium. Thousands of workers signing the beam, dignitaries from government, local and state signing the beam, everyone involved with the Buffalo Bills organization signing it. So certainly things are going to be starting here at about 10 o'clock. But I'm joined now by Don Lorenz from the Orchard Park Chamber of Commerce. Obviously, a lot of the questions regarding the new stadium is how can Orchard Park capitalize on it? What is the Orchard Park Chamber of Commerce looking forward to once this is complete in terms of developing this area?
Right, well, we've got a fresh new outlook. I know the town has come on board. Obviously, our village has been on board. We're looking to see that we can maybe increase the amount of retail, maybe get some hotels here, get some people that come here that stay for more than just games, but also come here for other activities. So that's our goal.
I think a lot of people who travel to other NFL stadiums, you know, particularly like New England, they see the development around Gillette Stadium, right? How can Orchard Park capitalize? What can we do to create that same atmosphere that we see in other markets?
Well, I think the momentum right now, seeing the stadium going up, I never thought it was going to be even to this extent at this time of the year, but it's fabulous. But we're thinking that this is maybe the stimulus that we've needed. We need something new and exciting, and if we get some of the people that are in our community involved with this, I think it's just going to spiral from there and keep going up.
What's an ideal type of development for the area of the former stadium? Obviously, you're going to have a big parcel of land to be able to play with.
Right. You know, from what we're hearing is they're going to have a large area that can be used as, for conferences and things like that within the new stadium. If we can tie into that by having some hotels around here, then we can start to build some smart growth, having some new restaurants, having some, again, retail that's not going to take away from the retail we already have. Hopefully it'll augment it so that people are staying here at the hotels, going to the village, going to the town businesses and restaurants, and everybody will benefit from that.
Do you think this is that generational opportunity for Orchard Park to really bring it to the next level in terms of keeping people down here when they come out for whether it's a Bills game, a concert, or what have you?
I think so. You know, when the original stadium was built back in '73, I know it was thought of more as a rural stadium, and it kind of kept that aura for all these 50 years. We're no longer a rural community. So I think that, if we take a look at it, the new generation, they want to see some progress. They want to see some things happening here so that we can take advantage of having the largest facility here.
Is there any opportunity to redevelop the old stadium for other sports?
I would love. I know there's all the talk about the soccer stadium downtown. We have a facility here that if you took off that upper deck, which is considered to be the unsafe area, you still have a 60,000 arena. You could, with the money they were going to spend down there, we already have the infrastructure, we have the roads, we have the parking, we have the concessions, everything's here. Why not take advantage of that? And we can piggyback. So during the summer that could be used for concerts, you could have all the extreme sports here, circuses, everything else, and then you can dedicate this to the football during the fall and winter season.
Certainly an opportunity. I imagine state government would want to be involved in something like that. Any feelers that you've sent out to your representatives in the state government?
I have. I've sent it out to the state and I've sent it out to the county. I'm hoping to hear something back. I know it probably sounds ridiculous because they already have the plans to tear it down in '27. But if they would just kind of relook at that and the millions that's going to be spent down there, if that could be used to revamp this, maybe put a retractable membrane over top so you don't have to worry about concerts in the rain, you wouldn't have to worry about having religious conventions and all that type of stuff coming here. It would be wonderful, especially for us to be able to attract more hotels. Because they're going to be saying 10 to 12 games is not a reason to put a hotel up. But if you say we're going to be doing something throughout the entire year, I think that would be a great sell for us.
Again, an opportunity for Buffalo to holistically look at the opportunity that's before them, right?
Exactly. And again, people would stay here for long periods of time. They could come here and they could go to the Niagara Falls, they could go to all the different areas. We're 20 minutes from everywhere. So this could be a hub for them to be able to travel.
Absolutely. Don, thank you so much. Make sure you go sign the beam. And obviously, Pete and Melissa, an electric feeling down here this morning, as you heard from Don Lorenz. You know, it's an opportunity now for Orchard Park to maybe have that generational chance to take it to the next level in terms of development and keeping people down here when they come to a game, or as you heard just then, maybe redevelop existing infrastructure to have that next phase an opportunity to bring more into Western New York.
Yeah. Nate, that was interesting to hear his thoughts about reasons to keep the old stadium up, and hopefully, you know, whatever happens around the stadium will help Orchard Park. But Nate, as we've got you here and we're waiting for this ceremony to get started, let's talk about this stadium helping other parts of Western New York and not just Orchard Park. We've got the Community Benefits Agreement, which is one of the first of its kind with building a new stadium in the NFL, where the Bills have pledged to invest $3 million into Western New York annually over the next 30 years. But not a lot of information yet about where that money is actually going to go. What can you tell us about this CBA?
Yeah, Melissa, the CBA is certainly an interesting development. You know, that was the brainchild of now Senator April Baskin. She really spearheaded that effort during the negotiations, and obviously the county executive, Mark Poloncarz, helped with that as well. You know, there has been frustration within the local representation of county government regarding that CBA because there aren't a lot of details yet, and there's been several meetings between the community, lawmakers, and the Bills publicly, and there's just not a lot of details yet in terms of what the Bills are planning to do. And it's certainly an opportunity for the community to get investment, get an opportunity to see the benefit of having an NFL team in their market, because there's only 30 or so of them in the country, and obviously we've seen development and opportunity in other communities, but of course, the criticism has been for so long, once they go to a Bills game, there's nothing else to do. So this CBA was an opportunity to really invest in the community, and there just really hasn't been the details that people have been longing for with this. I know that's been a point of contention for several lawmakers, and there's been public meetings regarding that, and it's just something that has not been fully sorted out yet between the Bills, lawmakers, and of course the community.
Now, Nate, talking about the new stadium site, when you were talking to the Orchard Park officials about development around this stadium, it seems like they're talking about around town, not specifically site located, because you mentioned Gillette. There's also the Lambeau Field complex that they've got out in Green Bay, and those are sites that are almost like malls, outlet malls and villages around the stadium built kind of connected to it. Have you heard any talk about something like that, where you've got, for example, Green Bay, they've got a Packers Hall of Fame museum in the stadium itself and year-round restaurants. Is there any talk about something like that on the site specifically?
Yeah, certainly town officials in Orchard Park have looked at the opportunity to rezone, what will now be the former Highmark Stadium once if they end up tearing that down. Obviously, the opportunity there is how can they redevelop it, right? And as Don Lorenz just said, you're not going to get a lot of development if the opportunity is only to come down here for 12 games a year, or even 10 games a year, if however many games a year that are played. Certainly, the Bills, did not build a domed stadium, so this is not going to be a year-round facility, of course. I'm not even sure if there's going to be concerts at the new stadium. I've heard mumblings that might not be a thing the Bills organization wants with the new stadium. So, of course, a lot of speculation regarding that. But in terms of redevelopment, that's the opportunity that Orchard Park officials are trying to capitalize on. There's been discussions about rezoning the area around what will be the old stadium, and how do you get people down there. I've heard mumblings about potentially Sports Hall of Fame moving into that particular area. Obviously, hotels would be a big thing. Shopping, of course, is tricky, because as we've seen all throughout the country, shopping areas are closing because people aren't going to those areas. So it's an opportunity, I think, for a lot of different players in the game, so to speak, to come together and figure out what will be the best option, because I think we can all agree another 50 years of just a stadium here with no other real development opportunity would be wasted for this community. Now that there's so much excitement with this stadium, the new stadium going up, the Bills, their success, how do we capitalize that? And obviously I think that's what officials are trying to sort out and figure out as they figure out what's next, whether it's rezoning the old stadium, keeping part of the old stadium, as Don Lorenz just said. There's certainly an opportunity that, with a semi-pro soccer team coming to town, that could be an opportunity. So certainly I think people need to be open to what those options and considerations could be.
Nate, as you're talking right now, we have our live drone up in the sky taking a look at how much of the stadium has already been built, and that undulating roof, well, not roof, canopy that is being built right now. And the old Highmark Stadium just looks so tiny behind it across Abbott Road. We do know, as Steve Rinaldi was saying, they're going to start wrapping the building with the glass panels on the outside as they're working on the inside. Again, construction's about halfway done. Today, the ceremony is the topping out. They're going to be putting up the final steel beam. So this is the big picture, and we're seeing it right now live. And then now you see the field house there as well. But Nate, the actual event today that the Bills have called everyone to the site for, who have you seen so far? We're expecting 2,000 people, many of them being the construction workers, but have you seen any dignitaries? Is Terry Pagula there, Kathy Hochul? Who have we seen so far this morning?
Yeah, it's certainly a who's who. I've seen a lot of City of Buffalo and county lawmakers. I just saw Legislator Tyson walk past me a moment ago. I have not seen the governor yet. Obviously, the governor will be here. I've not seen the Pagulas. I imagine they will be here too. I mean, it's a somewhat important day for them. Obviously, the new stadium they're building. I imagine they are, kind of isolated at the moment, finalizing their speeches. In terms of the rundown, we're about a half hour away from everything starting off. I do believe the governor, possibly the Pagulas and other high-profile dignitaries will be signing the beam in about 15 minutes at 9:45. Then kind of Billy Buffalo is running by me right now, obviously, because he's very excited for the day as well. But there'll be this beam signing by the dignitaries at 9:45, and then, of course, the speeches. I believe 4 people are speaking, including the governor, at 10 o'clock. And then it is the hoisting of the beam sometime between 10:15 and 10:30. So within the hour, there's going to be a lot of activity here at the new Buffalo Bills Stadium, Melissa.
All right. Very good, Nate. Thank you. And speaking of Terry Pagula, we'll check back in with you, Nate, in just a few minutes. We'll also check in with our Natalie Foss, who's out there live. Again, the stadium was originally projected to cost $1.5 billion when this all came to fruition back in about 2021. The Bills submitted the plan for the $1.4 billion stadium. Now the costs have ballooned to $2.1 billion, and the cost could go up from there, especially with how expensive things will be getting over, the next months and years as the stadium's being built. The Pagulas are on the hook for that extra $700 million. And so since all of this has transpired, the Pagulas have sold a minority stake in the Bills. That was in December. The Bills welcomed 10 new minority owners to the organization after they sold a stake in the team. Some of those owners including professional athletes like Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Josie Altidore, along with several owners representing the financial sector as well. Then the Bills, the county also sold bonds, bonds for $5,000 a piece. Not too much interest in that, but they were hoping that people who bought the bonds would not actually own part of the team like they do in Green Bay, but it would be a financial investment for those people who bought the Bills bonds. But again, the New York State and Erie County will not have to pay for any of the construction costs besides the $850 million that they've already said that they would invest into the stadium.
But it's amazing once you get this many minds together and the avenues they can come up with to make money. When they built the original stadium in '73, moving from the rock pile out to Orchard Park, that was the first stadium in the country that sold naming rights, Rich Stadium. So that kind of broke new ground and a whole new revenue stream that we're still seeing paying off today, right?
You know everyone's age based on what they call the stadium. Is it Rich Stadium? Is it the Rock Pile? Is it the Ralph? To me, it's always just going to be the Ralph. And Highmark Stadium does have the naming rights for this new stadium as well. So it will still be Highmark. But to me, I'm probably going to be going to the Ralph.
It'll always be Rich to me.
Right.
So
our Natalie Foss is out there live right now. She's been out there all morning since daybreak. And Natalie, what is going on from your perspective? Lots of people behind you getting ready for this topping out ceremony today.
Hi there, Melissa and Pete. Yeah, I just heard someone mention that this is the very first official tailgate at the new stadium, which I thought was very fitting because obviously on top of the 1,200 construction workers that are here on site today, we also have a bunch of dignitaries, politicians, you know, a bunch of who's who in Buffalo. It's kind of a where else would you rather be than right here, right now situation. And everybody is making a race to sign that beam before they get it all hooked up to the crane and ready to go. And like Nate said, of course, the governor is expected to be here and she's going to sign the beam in just a few minutes. They're saving a spot for her, and there's just lots of excitement. I've heard lots of talk about, you know, season tickets, where are your seats? Oh, I want my seats to be here, I want my seats to be there. So even just looking at the steel structure right now, where it's, you know, looking more and more like a stadium every single day, they are just getting really excited. Now, one of the things that you guys may have mentioned, but I think is a really interesting stat, is that up until the end of March of 2025, the workers here on site have worked a total of 6,000 hours a day, and that totals up to 1,762,342 hours on the stadium so far. The total projected for the project is 6,222,128 hours worked on this stadium, and these workers have been working constantly. They are working so hard, and everybody is here, not just, you know, your construction workers. You also have the scheduling team, the engineers, everybody who has had some sort of hand in this project. They are here, and they want to make sure that they go down in history by putting on their name on that beam. So it's definitely an exciting day here at the new stadium, and they are so excited to be here out here today in the sun, and it's beautiful out. And this morning it was interesting to see the stadium with just the lights on, you know, and then to now see it. It is a monstrous project, and you got that really cool drone shot of it earlier, and it is a huge project. So obviously everybody is just excited to be here today, and of course we're going to hear from everybody coming up in just a few minutes, but for now I'm going to send it back to you, Pete and Melissa.
A good day just to hang around this stadium. Natalie, we are taking a live look right now from Skyview to these workers who are hung thousands of feet up in the air right now doing some sort of work. I have no idea what they're doing, but I was talking with one of our producers, Dan I, this morning about these construction workers who are part of this project, the largest construction project in Western New York history. Imagine just being told, oh yeah, you're just going to put up the steel beam today, or oh yeah, you're just in charge of the electric, you know, this electric panel for the big huge billboard, or whatever, what have you. Just, they need to do everything right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is not just a minor little home repair project.
Nope.
I mean, so right now they are working on, they just did some of the audio for the, you know, putting in some of the speakers already. But now they're going to be finishing the roof. They're going to be wrapping the outside. They're going to be doing the inside, and it's just incredible. Oh, right now, they're also for the roof, they are installing the heating panels.
Snow melt system.
The snow melt system, which they better do that right.
Right. No
leaks either. Can't have that. It's just incredible to think about these crews who are part of this project that will affect people forever here in Western New York.
There is no low-tech aspect of this. When you're putting the roof on and the canopy, you're thinking, oh, it's a roof and a canopy and a lot of metal. No, it's high-tech mechanics and electronics and everything going into all the systems, whether it's the audio systems or the snow melt system.
Plumbing too. I mean, it's just incredible to think about how much will go into this $2.1 billion project. And I love looking at the renderings also and seeing the open concourses, because right now when you're in Highmark, if you go out to get a beer or go to the bathroom, the only way that you can continue to watch the game is from the tiny little TV screens that they have up in the very cold concourses. And so people are huddled around those to see what's happening in the game when they're not in their seats. And then it's those tiny little tunnels that you have to walk through in order to see the stadium. Well, this time, this stadium, as you've seen from the renderings, all of the concourses are wide open. This is the 360-degree view that they're talking about, that you can be out getting a drink, socializing with friends, going to the bathroom, what have you, but you can see the game as it's happening. And those concourses, most importantly, will be heated as you're standing in line to get a beverage.
And to clear things up, you're likely not going to be able to watch the game while you're going to the bathroom.
No, you
So
will. There's going to be TVs.
Oh, well, the TVs.
You'll be
Yeah,
able
of
to
course.
watch. There will be TVs in the bathroom from what I hear.
But you know what is, there's a neat concept, the Pirate Stadium in Pittsburgh. I went to a game last year. It's the same type of concept. You can walk around the concourse and you can still see in the stadium from just about wherever you are. And it's, you don't miss a play.
Right, you don't mind standing in line if you're able to see it and feel the electricity from the fans as you're standing in line waiting to get some food or in line for the bathroom.
Yep.
And hopefully, however they construct this stadium, the lines won't be that bad.
Good point, good point.
We shall see.
And over the next year or so, I think there's going to be a lot of people remembering the moments they had in the old stadium, whether it's Bills games or concerts or, just...
Taking Elliot to his first game at that stadium, seeing them win, and everyone will have their favorite memories and snow games that we've been to. And we will still likely get the snow games. It just depends on which way the wind is blowing with what part of the stadium will get the snow and which ones won't. But again, 60% of the fans will be covered by the canopy in this new stadium. And they've really thought of every detail about the wind and what direction the stadium's facing and how it will help or hurt the Bills and the opposing team. So I really can't wait to hear that. And how loud this stadium's going to be as Bills Mafia's cheering or singing Mr. Brightside.
Hey, well, we were talking this morning is the way it's that straight up construction, kind of like the Odd, where you felt like you were looking down at the ice the higher you got.
Right. Even when you are in the upper bowls, you will be so much closer to the field. Yeah, it's going to be up and not out, as you just said, like the Odd, but you'll be a lot closer than the current upper bowl is right now, the 300s at Highmark.
Your favorite Ralph moment?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know. I grew up during, when the Bills made their Super Bowl run. So I was Elliot's age. I was about 10, 11, 12 years old. And so seeing the team in the heyday, I love hearing right now about how they're going to say goodbye to Highmark Stadium by really honoring the 90s Bills and the heyday. And so perhaps bringing back the red helmets and the old retro blue jerseys, and to see Josh Allen looking like Jim Kelly, hopefully with the Super Bowl run this season. There's so much excitement as we're closing the door on the old Highmark and ushering this new team and hopefully a Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah, well, at that point on, from the Super Bowl years on, it wasn't so much many concerts. And I remember when I was in high school and college, there were concerts there all the time.
Yeah.
I remember in '82, we spent the night, my friend Bob Barzicki and I spent the night in the parking lot waiting for the line to start moving to go see The Who on their first farewell concert. Their first farewell tour in '82. They're still touring. But, and then just, the general admission and getting into that stadium, and it just an incredible amount of moments that you remember, from Bills games to concerts to, the marching band competitions and the number of high school football players who have unbelievable memories for the sectionals.
Yeah.
It's just great.
And even the tailgating experiences, which everyone has their favorite memories or the foggy memories.
Fuzzy memories, sure.
But that will stay. Now that they've decided that the stadium is staying in Orchard Park, that tailgating experience will also stay with Bills Mafia. And I think that that was a really important part of it too. Or
Huge.
it's important to fans that if the stadium would have gone downtown, there are a lot of benefits to the stadium going downtown also. You lose that tailgate experience. And that's what Bills fans are known for. And what Bills fans love so much about going to a game is that they can spend all day there and create those experiences that are just so uniquely Buffalo.
And that all-day event mentality is what brings people from as far away as Syracuse and Toronto. I mean, if it's just a 3-hour game, you're not going to get that type of travel and fandom coming from far and wide.
Yeah. Let's head back out to Nate Benson, who is live at the topping out ceremony. Nate, what's going on now?
Yeah, Pete and Melissa, obviously a lot more activity now as more people, as we gear up a few minutes from now, the official signing by the dignitaries and, of course, the press conference starting. But I'm with my new buddy here, Norm Marshall. Marshall, you were retired and came out of retirement to do this project. What do you do here for Gilbane?
I'm a MEP manager, mechanical, electrical, plumbing manager in engineering.
Talk to me about the scope of this project in terms of the plumbing, the electric. Obviously, it's very meticulous, I would imagine.
It truly is. There's a lot of miles of pipe and a lot of miles of ductwork, and to bring all that together in one opportunity and not clash and not interfere with each other, that's what we do. We fix those things all day long.
We keep hearing about the scale of this project being the largest in Western New York history in terms of cost. You're in the trenches looking at those blueprints every day. Just tell me about the scale of this project.
This is probably the largest project you'll ever find in Buffalo, New York. And it's a incredibly detailed project. There's a lot of things that go into it. You call about the number of feet of conduit, the number of feet of pipe and plastic, but the scale of this project is just unbelievable to what we're used to in Buffalo, New York.
You were retired, you were telling me off
Yes.
camera, and came out of retirement. Why was it important for you to come out of retirement to work on this project specifically?
Oh, this is a lifetime opportunity, culmination of your entire career. It's a privilege to be here. It truly is something that you don't get this anywhere. And to be asked to be part of a group and an organization with great people, you can't afford not to go.
How can you not be a part of your hometown team's new stadium?
And this is history, and this is something that you'll take it to your grave. It's the best.
So it obviously means a lot to you.
It certainly does, without a doubt. And it means a lot to all these people that are out here. Everybody expects to do excellence. Mr. Bagula deserves it. The community deserves it. This thing has to be built perfectly, and we're doing just that. We really are.
What's going to be the biggest surprise for the people, in your mind, from a construction standpoint, once they see the finished project?
The awe of it all. This is really for the fans. There's things in that building that you'll never see again anywhere else. And it's really interesting to be watching it go together and come together. We're in the fits and finishes already. It's amazing. It's really, truly amazing.
For those of us who covered the weather for news this past winter, it seemed like a brutal winter, but you were here every day.
Every day.
How challenging was the construction during this winter?
This is Buffalo, New York. If you don't know what the weather's like here, just wait a few minutes. That's really true. The wind blows through there at 60 miles an hour. Everything that can lift, it will lift and it will fly. So we're very diligent for that. As you can see, the stadium was shrink wrapped. It was shrink wrapped for a reason. We had to heat it so people could work.
Yeah.
Very interesting proposition.
Yeah. Obviously, you and your colleagues very excited today. Congratulations on a truly remarkable project.
God bless you and everybody here. Amen.
Thank you. Obviously, Pete and Melissa, that's just a great example of just how dedicated the workforce here is at the new stadium. As you can see behind me, it's filled in quite a bit with the hard hats and the safety vests and everything. Workers now gathering around the beam, the new stadium, as we get ready for the big topping off ceremony. 18 plus months since the June 2023 shovel groundbreaking of this stadium, and here we are at the halfway point, putting up that last piece of steel. Pete and Melissa.
Nate,
So cool.
that interview with Norm Marshall there from Gilbane Construction, he just gave me chills.
Yeah.
Just watching this stadium be built, but to him, this is part of his legacy. He'll be talking to his children and grandchildren for years about how he had his hand in this project that will forever change the Bills Mafia and the Western New York landscape, the biggest construction project in Western New York history.
Yep.
And he was so passionate about it. It wasn't just a job. This is what he's living and breathing every day, and he knows that he's part of history. And so to see him talk with that smile and with that passion, it gave me chills.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking logistics, but I mean, he's just glowing with Western New York pride. Unbelievable. All right, let's head back out, and Natalie Foss joins us now live from the new stadium project with a lot more activity out there than the last time, right?
There's a lot more activity out here, and you know, I've seen a lot of people that you might recognize. Obviously, there's plenty of members of the Buffalo Common Council. The Erie County Legislature, Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz is here. I haven't seen Governor Kathy Hochul just yet, but you know, she's probably showing up pretty soon to sign that beam. Billy Buffalo just signed the beam, which I'm pretty sure that is the most important person to sign this beam just yet to date. So there's lots of excitement. Obviously, we keep seeing construction workers coming off the site to come and see what's going on. The crane is slowly approaching so that they can attach the beam to it and start to get this thing moving in just a little bit. So obviously we're getting closer and closer to them placing that final beam, marking the halfway point of this project being done. And like you said, there's just plenty of excitement going on and lots of Bills logos. There's been plenty of Hey songs and chanting, lots of where else would you rather be than right here, right now, because obviously this is an incredibly exciting event here at the stadium today. So Pete, Melissa, we're only getting more excitement as we're heading into this. I have Billy Buffalo here. He blew you a kiss, Melissa. And we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
You did say it was like a tailgate out there, a very subdued tailgate.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, Natalie, thank you. And you know, Pete, Norm Marshall, the construction manager that we just spoke with, that Nate was speaking with, talked about the miles of conduit and piping. And the Bills actually sent us some of those stats. So as we take a look from the live drone that we're about to show you, I want to go over some of the facts and figures, because when you hear it, it kind of takes your breath away. The conduit is 1,653,088 feet, or 313 miles. For wire or cable, we're talking more than 6.6 million feet of wire and cable. That's 1,260 miles of wire and cable. I can't
Here
even
to Florida or something?
Right, exactly.
Wow.
I mean, I get my lines crossed with my TV to my DVR box, and they're using 1,260 miles of wire and cable. Number of bolts to make steel connections. Patrick, can you guess how many bolts are used for the steel connections in the new Highmark Stadium? Just take a guess.
I'm going to say maybe 1.3 million.
Okay, well, that's
Not quite.
overestimating a lot. 223,088.
Okay, I was close.
Bolts.
I was close.
But that's just to make the steel connections. That's
Right.
not everything else. in
Once the
stadium.
glass goes up, it's going to be 1.3 million, Patrick. So I think you're correct.
Yeah, and the number of hours estimated to work on the project. So far, it's been 1,762,342 hours to date. That's approximately 6,000 hours per day of work at the stadium, because there are about 1,200 people on site every single day. But projected total for the project of man hours and woman hours to work on the stadium, 6,222,128 hours. There's 1,200 workers on site right now. They say by next month, that's going to go up to about 1,500 workers per day on site to make all of this happen. So they also said that they are on time and on budget. Now, the state budget is on budget.
Right.
But on time, that's really wonderful. They hope to, again, have it open by June, July of 2026. Kind of work out some of the kinks with some summer events there. They haven't said what those might be, but also that they can open for the fall and for Bills season for 2026.
Yeah, and when it comes to the budget, the important thing to note is the public investment budget will not change.
Right.
Because as the stadium costs go over, that's all on the Pagulas. So.
Right. $850 million is what the state and the county has invested into this project. Again, it started at $1.4 billion was the estimate. Now it is up to $2.1 billion. Everyone knows that costs of everything have gone up. Building a house here in Western New York is a lot more expensive. So building a stadium clearly is more expensive as well. But hey, you know what? At least they had pretty good weather over the winter to continue to work on this stadium. The last 2 winters, I mean, even 2 winters ago when they were building it, there were some blizzards and there were some large weather events, but really not overall bad weather all season long. And Patrick, we can see today the weather's pretty nice for this ceremony, as well as the sun is shining. Temperatures are comfortable, and yeah, there might be a little snow in April, but nothing that they can't handle with the construction.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, you look at the scope of this thing and you ask yourself, are there like instructions? Like with IKEA figures?
Yeah, that's what Norm said. He's like, everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
You can't make mistakes here.
There's a page, tools you will need, right?
Or those,
seven Allen wrenches.
Little IKEA knobs.
That's
or
what
like
I've
the
said.
little rods.
The IKEA, I mean, like, okay, go to page 4. Shoot, we forgot.
Go to page 3,493.
We forgot step B. We got to go back. I mean, seriously, how do they know what's next? Anyway, Melissa, I do have to say one thing. There was a lot of weather actually this winter season in Orchard Park. I know that we didn't have as much lake effect snow in Buffalo this season. In Orchard Park and Hamburg and East Aurora and Eden, there was. In fact, you know, there was a snowpack, a deep snowpack in this area for about 2 straight months. So yes, I think there was a lot of usable time to do construction in the winter. But there were impacts with snow. I remember we had a game that had to be dug out.
Luckily, they're still on time, though. As they
that
said,
is the good point. And you always wondered, is it rain or, you know, during those heavy snows, were they, I got to believe they were. And you can also clearly see with this overhang how different just the whole, the weather modification that went into the design. It's going to be hard for wind whipped snow to like make it into the stadium. The current stadium is built like this. It's like a scoop, just all the snow comes in. This will actually keep a lot of it out, obviously, with that design. So anyway, okay, construction will beat along. Tomorrow, as mentioned, workers will be dealing with rain. That's happening. Today looks fine. Tomorrow, wet, morning, and then again later in the day, in the late afternoon and evening. Sunday looks pretty good, okay, and next week is looking chilly. I think construction crews and all of us in Western New York, we're going to have to work around some snowflakes next week, Tuesday. It is currently 42 degrees, 39 in Java, 43 in Dunkirk. Temperatures are about 20 to 25 degrees cooler than at this time yesterday, okay? Taking a view out, you can see that all is quiet. Nothing happening of significance weather-wise today. That will certainly change tomorrow. Look at all this rain. Boy, this is going to be a big deal with flooding rains across parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley, Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Arkansas. There's going to be some maybe historic flooding going on there. Some of that rain will make it here. We're going to see some moderate rains again tomorrow, where we could probably get 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain tomorrow. There will be some times where the rain lets up a bit, maybe in the middle part of the day, only to come back in the afternoon and evening, and then the rain kind of exits on Sunday. All right, that's good. So the forecast for the weekend is actually a little better for the second half versus initially we thought Sunday could be just as wet. Right now it looks like a lot of the rain will push away Sunday. All right, future look, increasing clouds with rain developing towards morning. There it is, a soaking rain moving through. In the afternoon, maybe a little bit of a lull, I should say mid-afternoon, only for the rain to come back, maybe a rumble of thunder. And there's some of that rain into Saturday night. Sunday, though, appears will stay drier. Colder air is going to come in. It's going to be chilly on Sunday. Highs only in the low 40s. So about a 15 to an 18 degree drop in our temperature Sunday versus Saturday. And here's the soaking rain that's coming through Sunday morning. Maybe an inch and a half, I got to believe, is possible. Highs tomorrow, upper 50s, close to 60. Cooler on Sunday. Monday looks dry. Monday night, there may be a little push of moderate snow that moves through Monday night with some snow showers into Tuesday. Chilly temperatures only in the 30s and a breeze. Dry on Wednesday and Thursday as well.
Construction workers will be cold as they continue to work on the new Bills Stadium. Thank you, Patrick. And again, we are just a few minutes out from the ceremony taking place, the topping out ceremony, the final steel beam. But this ceremonial groundbreaking, this was back on June 5th, 2023, when they broke ground on the stadium. And now the project is halfway complete.
Unbelievable. And you can see all the dignitaries that were there, the county executive, the governor, and just that ceremonial groundbreaking. And this is one of the renderings of what it will look like. Just, it's going to be a palace. It's just going to be spectacular.
Yeah, the Bills will have the creme de la creme of NFL stadiums here in Orchard Park. Now, again, that groundbreaking was back on June 5th, 2023, but the plans for this go far back beyond that. August 31st, 2021 is when the Bills submitted the plans for the $1.4 billion stadium at that point. But there was so much debate even before then about where is the stadium going to go? Is it going to go downtown? Is it going to go to the outer harbor? And eventually it was chosen, the site was chosen right across the street from the current stadium, across Abbott Road, to keep the stadium in Orchard Park. So they submitted the plans August 31st, 2021. March 28th, 2022 is when the deal was reached between New York State, Erie County, and the Bills to keep the Bills Stadium here in Orchard Park. A lot of negotiations there. And then June 5th, 2023 was that groundbreaking. And again, they hope to have everything complete. They say they're on time for a June or July 2026 opening. And then they plan to tear down the current Highmark Stadium in March of 2027. However, you did hear from Don Lawrence earlier. He spoke with our Nate Benson out there this morning saying from the Orchard Park Chamber of Commerce, he wants to push to keep the stadium up, the old stadium, and have events there year-round, possibly put a roof on it to make it available for events year-round so that there can be more hotels built around the stadium in Orchard Park.
I thought it was really interesting because he called it a retractable membrane.
Yes.
Not a roof, a retractable membrane. But you know what? I had never.
Who's going to pay for that?
Yeah, I had never heard the idea of the soccer stadium because they're talking about locations downtown around KeyBank Center, but to take off the upper tier and make it a soccer-sized stadium. It's an interesting concept, and you take the money that they would be putting downtown, and maybe you've got a couple extra dollars for a retractable membrane.
Yeah. Right now, I don't know. They plan to tear it down and just have that be parking.
Yeah.
Unless they plan to build more things around the stadium, kind of like Gillette, with more outdoor retail really close to the current stadium, or maybe attached with like walkways over Abbott Road. But parking, obviously, for tailgating is really important for Bills fans. But they're managing right now. They haven't been able to use those lots where the current stadium is being built right now and having to park further away. Speaking of parking, too, plans with the NFTA to put a hub there so that there can be more buses going to and from the stadium, high-speed shuttles to get folks there and make it more accessible for Bills fans who really can't get out to Orchard Park right now. So lots of plans with the NFTA and other developments across Western New York and Buffalo to try to benefit from this decision to put the stadium in Orchard Park. Again, we talked about the community benefits agreement, and the Bills have to invest $3 million a year over 30 years into the community. I spoke with the Reverend Mark Blue, who is the commissioner of the Community Benefits Stadium Commission, about what's the process of handing out this money. And it's really up to the Bills. And I said, well, who do you want to see get the money? And he said, it's the people who need it. Right. So he was really not very specific about it. And he didn't want to name names of who he thinks should get the money. But currently, you know, the Bills do invest in the community in many ways. And so they can continue to make those investments and then hopefully ramp it up a little bit as well.
You know, I think the Reverend Blue needs a hobby. He's on what, about 100?
Everything.
He's the head of the NCAA or the NAACP. He's the head of just about every commission, the 514 Memorial Commission.
Right.
It's just he is one of those people who is everywhere and effective everywhere.
Yeah.
He's not just a name on a list of board members.
Yeah, really advocating for Western New Yorkers. And here,
Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell, who actually is a Western New York native. He's from Jamestown. The commissioner of the NFL is there, and he's talking with Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz right now. Can't wait to hear what he has to say. Obviously, he'll be speaking at the ceremony, the topping out ceremony that should be starting soon. We're expecting Governor Kathy Hochul, but I had no idea that Roger Goodell was going to be there today. So it'll be interesting to hear from him. Likely going to hear from Terry Pagula, who is on the hook for a lot of money for this stadium.
Senator Pat Gallivan. I know that guy. I know that hairline.
Yes, lots of good hair in that family.
Exactly. Terry Pagula right there as well.
Oh,
So
there we go. And there we've got Governor Kathy Hochul wearing a Bills Letterman jacket.
The gang's all here.
Yeah, we do expect the ceremony to start soon. All morning long, some of the 1,200 construction workers who are there on site, as well as the dignitaries there, have been signing that last steel beam that will be erected shortly. That's Pete Gwelly, who is with the Bills.
Former Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy on the left there.
Right. And then the gentleman there in the blue suit, he is on the stadium benefits committee also. And so, yeah, we've got our crew out there. Nate Benson is there with our photographer, and they likely are being told to move and to get into location right now. Once that ceremony starts and everyone starts talking, we will carry that live for you right here on the stream. Again, normally we have our Daybreak Plus streaming newscast from 9 to 9:30. We are going and extending for as long as we need to today. And of course, we'll have Channel 2 News midday right on Channel 2, and we will have some live reports out there as well as all of this is wrapping up.
All right, and we're going to send things back out to Nate Benson because things are getting a little active out there, Nate.
Yeah, that's right, Pete. We're under the big active tent here at the new stadium. As you can see behind me, everyone's starting to fill in. They've asked all the elected officials who are gathering for this to start taking their seat. As you just mentioned a few minutes ago, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is here. Pagulas are here. The governor's obviously here as well. So people are starting to fill in here as, this was supposed to start just a few moments ago, but there's so many people here. I just went outside the tent here a few moments ago, and look, it's a sea of construction hats and yellow vests as all the construction workers are gathered for this very big day here at the new Buffalo Bills Stadium, the topping off ceremony that we've been talking and telling you about all morning long. And it's really an exciting day. Everyone I've spoken to is just absolutely jubilant about all the hard work they've done to get this stadium up. Groundbreaking was in June of 2023, and here we are 19 months later with a half-built stadium, the last beam going up in just a short time as the final signatures going on right now. I know they've hoisted, connected the crane to the beam and getting it ready to lift up in the air once the ribbon is cut, so to speak. And again, we'll have all this coverage momentarily as the dignitaries and everybody starts getting under this big tent and ready for all the festivities here at the new stadium.
Nate, was it a surprise out there as it was in studio when Roger Goodell arrived?
It was a kind of a, Roger's here. It was pretty surprising. Obviously it's a big day. You had to expect it to, but of course things like this are always fluid, right? You just never know what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. Obviously it's a beautiful day out here in Orchard Park. If this event was yesterday, it was going to be a lot windier and a little rainier. So certainly it's a beautiful day and everyone's certainly excited. And obviously, there were some, these are construction guys, right? So, maybe there was some heckling, maybe not. I can't confirm everything when obviously they spotted the NFL commissioner.
Maybe.
And this is a big day with this final steel beam being erected at the stadium. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when they have the grand opening of it and what that will look like?
Or the Super Bowl banner raising?
Oh, Pete. Cross our fingers for that. Yeah, a lot of excitement. This has been years in the making, and just to see the renderings also, to see how different and state-of-the-art this new stadium will be compared to what Bills Mafia have right now. Although, I don't know, I'm kind of old school. That Bills Mafia, we love our Bills, we love our team, and we will just kind of put up with whatever we've been given in order to cheer our team on. So I think to walk into this new state-of-the-art facility with every bell and whistle you can think of, will it feel like Buffalo?
There's going to be a lot of old school guys. Yeah, well, it ain't the rock pile.
Right.
Man,
right?
but look at that sea of yellow that Nate was talking about. We're seeing from our live drone shot, because it is really cool, because you expect the dignitaries out there. You expect all the suits and the politicians, but you can see the pride in the people who are working there. Yeah. They know they're building something special for all of Western New York that their kids and their grandkids and generations beyond are going to enjoy for years.
Yeah, they're part of history. I'm also wondering whether they're thinking about what they have to do the rest of the day once everyone leaves and gets out of their way so that they can get back to work. Yeah, right now they said that the outside is going to be wrapped, and then they'll start working on the inside. They're working on the snow melt system on the canopy right now. That's one of the things that they're putting in right now. We know just a couple of weeks ago they were working on the sound system. So much going into all of it. And it's really fun also seeing the renderings that have been coming out little by little. Meantime, there are all of the PSLs that are still being sold. As of around New Year's Eve, they said about 11,000 PSLs have been sold. They hope to sell 58,000. Prices started at $50,000 per seat for those personal seat licenses. Now they're down to about $2,500. They might even drop from there in order to sell more PSLs for the upper bowl, so more people can afford to just buy the rights to the seat. Then you got to buy the season tickets on top of it all.
Yeah, and a lot of people might be saying that, oh, they're so expensive and they're not selling as fast as they could. But a lot of the current season ticket holders who may be in the upper bowl, they haven't even gotten their chance to buy them yet. They don't know what's going to cost. So it's a slow rollout process. We've still got another season. But I think it was kind of interesting last year when the Bills played in London at Tottenham, and all the comparisons to that stadium. Right. And how it's going to be very similar. And now that you're seeing the stadium start to take shape and you see the renderings, and you can see the comparison. You can really see the comparison.
Yeah, I really do love the concept of these open air concourses that are heated, but you can see the stadium as you're walking around and standing in line. That's one of the really cool features of the new stadium. And it also, as you can see, is built up and not out like the old Highmark. And so even when you are in the upper deck of this stadium, you're a lot closer to the field. It's also being constructed so it's really loud, and that's been taken into consideration. The weather has been taken into consideration with how it's built and the architectural design. But yeah, those red lights there, that's the radiant heating. The scoreboard looks so cool. It's just going to be so much fun to be in that atmosphere if you can be in it. I mean, right now, it's easy to buy tickets to games and have season ticket holders selling their tickets to Bills fans. So anyone can go if you can afford to buy a ticket. But can the average person go and watch a Bills game?
It's going to be
for the first couple years.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough.
Who's going to want to sell their tickets?
Right, especially for those first few games. If you're not a season ticket holder, you might as well be buying a lottery ticket to try to get in. It's going to be something special. Yeah. But I liked your point before, because there are going to be a lot of Western New Yorkers that are walking in. I don't know. Do we deserve nice things like this? It's just it's exciting to see, and it's one of those things. It's the same feeling I get watching this as I got walking around Canal Side when it first opened up, and I'm walking around and remembering the landfill behind the odd and the way it used to look, and just beaming with pride that, wow, we've got this now. We can walk around there, and now we've got this to cheer on the Bills.
And you know what, Pete? We also have a winning team to back it up, which feels really, really nice. Because imagine if we were still in that 17-year playoff drought. Would this even be happening if we had a team that wasn't a winning team and a potential Super Bowl winning team with MVP Josh Allen? Will he be there today, by the way?
As soon as I saw Roger Goodell, that was the first thought that crossed my mind.
Josh Allen? Is he going to come out there? But to have a team led by him makes it even more exciting, because you know that you will be seeing wins in this new stadium as opposed to a 17-year playoff drought.
And the way things have been coming together over the last year or so, and now you've got the Hallmark movie that they're building around the Bills. And you've got the Josh and Haley romance. That's, you know, they were on Jimmy Fallon last night. Haley was talking about her relationship with Josh Allen. It's kind of they've become this power couple, and it's like the moons are coming in alignment, right?
And speaking of power couple, I think right there, that might be Mary Wilson. I'm trying to figure out whether that's her, but
it looks like, yes,
yeah.
It looks like her.
And of course, the Wilson family, you know, since Ralph's passing, they started the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, which has dedicated hundreds of millions of dollars to our community and also to Detroit, Ralph's hometown.
Yep.
And so his legacy still lives on in Western New York also. It might not be the Ralph anymore, the stadium, but he has dedicated so much since his passing, and Mary leading this foundation to dedicate hundreds of millions of dollars to our communities. And now you see they're attaching the equipment to raise this final steel beam that will be erected here in the stadium. This is the topping out ceremony, the final steel beam going up today.
So in a year from now, Bills Mafia will be raising the roof. This morning, they're raising the last steel beam. And you can see how many people have signed that beam, from all the construction workers to the dignitaries. I think this is when we're going to see Josh. I've heard rumors that he's going to ride the beam up to the...
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
No, put that guy in bubble wrap and don't let him get hurt.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you mentioned Mary Wilson and the Wilson Foundation. When you think about the impact, the Centennial Park, just the recreation of that stretch of Buffalo's waterfront, the contributions to the AKG renovation, it's Ralph Wilson's impact through the work of Mary Wilson is still being felt far and wide here in Western New York.
And now the Pagulas helping to build this stadium with the public-private partnership with the state and the county, building this new Bills Stadium and seeing this final beam being lifted into the air with the American flag and more than hundreds of signatures on this beam showing the Buffalo Bills logo, and watching this go up. Not quite sure what part of the building this will go in, what part of the stadium, but it's exciting to see that this construction is halfway finished today, and the final steel beam is going up. The New York State flag, the American flag will be lifted along with it.
There should be a Bills flag there too. Mm-hmm. But you know, it's. I think that is a Bills flag to the right. So, ask and you shall receive, right? But it is just such a moment of pride for the thousands of workers who have spent the last year on that site, going from knocking down whatever was there and then building this up from the bottom up. And now we're having this topping out ceremony as that beam is being raised to the roof and will be the last piece of structural steel.
We're told there's about 2,000 people who are there today to watch this ceremony. Many of them workers, some of them dignitaries, other members of the NFL and the Bills, watching all of this happen. After the steel beam is lifted and put into place, which will take a few minutes, then we are expected to hear from some of the dignitaries that are there. We've seen Governor Kathy Hochul, we've seen NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, we've seen Bills owner Terry Pegula. Thoughts, of course, are with Kim Pegula.
Yeah.
Suffered a medical emergency and cardiac arrest years ago and has been in recovery, in rehab. She made a few appearances here and there over the last year, going out to see the team. I believe it was last year during training camp. But we haven't really heard much about how Kim is doing. But we did see Terry out there today. So our thoughts are with Kim Pegula, who is one of the co-owners of the Bills and the Sabres.
Yeah, we're not sure if she is actually on site. And we don't know yet the speaking order either, but you got to believe that the governor, Mr. Pegula, Roger Goodell, it's such a long-term investment on so many different levels that a lot of people want to have a part in this transformation of Orchard Park, Western New York, and the home of the Bills and Bills Mafia.
Again, when they started building this and then they submitted the plans, it was $1.4 billion. The project has ballooned to $2.1 billion. The state and the county are responsible for $850 million, and taxpayer dollars, of course, that includes. So you are helping to pay for it as well. But the Pegulas and the minority stake owners in the Bills now will take care of the rest, all of the overages. Right now it's $2.1 billion, but it can still go up from there depending on the cost of items and all of the plans that they've got. So right now we are at $2.1 billion, the largest construction project in Western New York history.
And it's important to note that whereas the price tag is huge, it's also an investment, and the amount of tax dollars that come back to the county and the state from the revenue that's generated by the stadium, by the Bills players who live in the area through taxes, and it's truly an investment.
And we do hear that there we go. We will take you now to the podium for the topping out ceremony.
For the Bills, and I'll be your MC today. We are so excited for this day of celebration. For those of us not in the construction industry, that would be myself, do not trust me with a hard hat. Topping out represents the completion of the structural steel phase of the project. We will begin the program momentarily, but I'd like to introduce our honorary guests as they come up to the stage. Let's welcome Bills and Sabres Chief Operating Officer Pete Gwelly. Buffalo Bills owner Terry Pegula. Joining him on stage is Laura Pegula. While Kim Pegula can't be here today, as this project was something she helped with from its inception, we want to recognize Kim Pegula today as well. The Governor of New York, Kathy Hochul. Erie County Executive, Mark Poloncarz. And the Commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell. I can't believe almost 2 years ago we were here for the groundbreaking ceremony, standing on a piece of land, excited about what was to come. Just 14 months ago, we laid the first column. This place is really coming to life. It's remarkable. We want to start off the program by thanking our stadium planning group, our friends at Gilbane Turner, Gilbane CEO Adam Jellin, Turner Chairman and CEO Peter Davorin, Highmark President Tom Fitzpatrick, leadership from Legends, Populous, the construction workers, tradespeople, and iron workers to get us to where we are today. We also have to shout out the general foreman in charge of erecting all of the steel and precast for Stonebridge, Billy Collern. Billy is a fourth-generation iron worker and a proud member of Local 6 who's here with his wife today. He's been an inspiration for everyone as he beats cancer. Way to go, Billy. Thank you so much for the long days and nights, the hard work in the snow, rain, wind, sleet, this crazy climate that we live in. It was important to get us to where we're at today. Bills owner Terry Pegula said he wanted a stadium built for Buffalo, and we're starting to see what that looks like right before our eyes. So far, I think you guys are nailing it. The estimated number of hours worked to this date is, get this, 1.7 million hours. That's an average of 6,000 hours per day. The tons of steel placed are more than 25,000, the equivalent of around 5,000 elephants. 104,000 pounds of explosives have been used for excavation. the equivalent of about 10 elephants. I guess I do all my measurements in elephants. Talking to Bills players and members of Bills Mafia, people are ecstatic about this new state-of-the-art stadium. When you drive by, you can't help but slow down, pull down your window, take a couple pictures safely, and dream about what's to come. Bills Mafia is so excited to scream for their team in a new environment. The players are eagerly awaiting getting to play in the coolest new NFL stadium. Today, we will hear from several leaders from the Bills, the NFL, and the state of New York. I would like to welcome someone who has literally poured his heart and soul into the new Highmark Stadium. Someone we are so lucky to have that cares about the Buffalo part of the Buffalo Bills. It's our owner, Terry Pegula. Terry has been the owner for 10 incredible years. In that time, the Bills have made it to the playoffs 7 times and won the AFC East 5 times in a row. Let's just pencil that in for 6. Terry also got to add overseeing the drafting of a now MVP quarterback to his list of accomplishments once Josh Allen was crowned MVP in February. With how successful the team has been on the field and the culture he has put in place off the field, I think it's safe to say this stadium is going to be a smashing success. Terry?
I should congratulate Josh. He now makes more money than I do. Was that funny? You know, while gathering notes for today's event, my staff handed me a lot of statistics. And I saw 2 statistics that were like almost bizarre to me. The first one is our friend across the street. The groundbreaking for it was April 4th, 1972. The second stat, that stadium cost $22 million, and we're at pretty much 100 times that. And I don't say that in a negative way, but it just goes to show you how times have changed since 1972. One thing that hasn't changed, there are hardworking Americans in this country, and we have a lot of them in our crowd today. Back in '72, my father was a truck driver, mechanic, and he was a teamster. What does my father have to do with what we're doing today? I remember he used to drive by construction projects that were finished, some dams, bridges, buildings, and he would say, I hauled the concrete that built that place. I hauled the stone. I hauled the steel. My father was very proud of what he did. So to me, today is not about Terry Pegula, Kathy Holko, Mark Polenkars, Roger Goodell. Today is about you hard workers, men and women. I was given a statistic, got to find it on my phone here. Breakdown of workers on site to date. 3,580 individuals. Electricians, carpenters, operating engineers, painters, on, and Teamsters, just like my dad was. And iron workers. The list goes on and on. So I want to tell all the workers here, and I don't know how we're going to do this because I just thought of this yesterday. We are going to have a place at this stadium where if your grandchildren want to see you worked here, they can pull your name up. I don't know how, this is beyond my pay grade doing stuff like that. But they'll be able to come to the stadium and say, hey, my granddad or my father worked here. And I think you all deserve that. So we're going to put this piece of steel up, and we're calling it the topping off ceremony. It's the last piece of steel we're going to put on the stadium. I call it the first piece of building the rest of the stadium. And I know one thing, I'm not capable of getting it up there, but I know you guys know how to hook up to it, how to raise it, how to put it in there and bolt it in and get it done. And I want to thank you all for that. God bless you.
Terry, I think you're selling yourself short. I think you could raise that beam on your own. I believe in you. Maybe you could give it a try. Next up is someone who has quite a busy schedule, but has shown just how much she cares and values the Buffalo Bills, as well as the construction of a new amazing stadium. It's our Governor of New York, Kathy Hochul. Governor Hochul is the 57th governor of New York and New York's first female governor. Since she's from Buffalo, I know Governor Hochul is excited to cheer on the Buffalo Bills in the new Highmark Stadium. Governor Hochul.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, how sweet it is to have left Albany during budget season. And I'm sure the press will give me a hard time, but my meeting's at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I'll go to 2 in the morning, so don't worry about that. But this is where I needed to be right here, right now. Thank you, Marv Levy. Because this symbolizes the greatness of our state and its people. And I also want to say this. I'm going to nominate Terry Pagula, Kim Pagula, and the entire family as Buffalo-owned MVP ourselves. They're our MVPs. They have made this magic happen. They have brought hope back to this region, a sense of pride in all of us, and it feels so good because I remember those days in 1972. My grandfather just retired after spending a lifetime at the steel plant where he worked with his sons, my father, the hard work in the coal blast furnace. But all he wanted to do when he retired, not go to Florida, but get season tickets to the Buffalo Bills, and that's what he got from all of us, and he was at the very first season in 1972 when we started here. So this is in my DNA. I remember Jack Kemp. No one here is old enough to remember Jack Kemp, do you? Okay. Terry and I remember Jack Kemp. He was kind of the Josh Allen of our time, but didn't really jump over defenders and do things like that, but he was really a big deal to us, right? So I've been watching this sport since I was a little kid. You couldn't come to dinner at the dinner table with all my brothers and my dad and not know the statistics and the trades and how we were doing against the Packers and everybody else. It was how I was raised. So I am proud to be the first governor from Buffalo since Grover Cleveland. I'm proud to be the first woman governor. But I'm also proud to be the biggest Buffalo Bills fan that governor's office has ever seen. So to all my colleagues in government, I thank you. This was an effort that had to happen not just in our offices, but also in the legislative floor. And I want to thank Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes for being a great champion and helping get it through. Our Senator Sean Ryan's here. Senator April Baskin's here. Mayor Chris Scanlon's here. And of course, Mark Poloncarz, who was at the negotiating table with me from the very beginning. I want to thank that partnership that found the resources to help make this happen. So thanks to all of them, but Terry's absolutely right. Politicians can do so much, but it's the people wearing the hard hats that made this happen. And I know, just as he was saying, you will go by here and bring your kids and grandkids and maybe even their kids to the games here and say, I was a piece of that. I helped make this happen. At a time sometimes when people start giving up on our cities and our regions. And yes, we're in for some tough times in the next few years because I can feel it already. But one thing I know about Buffalonians and people from Western New York, we are tough, we are resilient, and nothing keeps us down, and the men and women in labor make it happen. Let's give another round of applause to all the hard workers. They work through horrible ice storms and blizzards and floods and all the things that Mother Nature threw at you, and you kept showing up day after day so we could play ball on time next season. So I'm so proud. I'm a little excited, as you can tell. I feel like I'm at a game, right? But I'll tell you this, lastly, what this team and this stadium have done is something that's really hard to say happens in other parts of our country. And that is to unify people, to make people feel, regardless of your political affiliation. I know when I walk through the crowds, as I did just back in January, and my state police detail has a heart attack, because I'm walking right down, high-fiving everybody, talking to everyone. It doesn't matter who's a Democrat, Republican, or non-affiliate. It doesn't matter, because we all have a common bond, and that is our love for Buffalo and the Buffalo Bills, and that is enduring. And we need to see more of that. Whether I'm at my sports bar in New York City, where I tell you I have converted more fans to this team than anybody in history. And I tell them, and I know I get in trouble for this, the only team that plays in New York, right? The only team that plays. No, Jets and Giants fans love you. But when your team is not playing the Bills, I know you're a Buffalo Bills convert because I can feel it throughout this state. And all I wanted to do is unify this state, and we did it around this amazing team and all the amazing people who made this happen. I am so proud. Congratulations. And I cannot wait a year and a half from now when we go into that stadium and march in there and say, we've got the greatest facility in all of America, and it is our own in Buffalo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Governor Hochul. I love what you said about tough and resilient, that Buffalo is tough and resilient. I think it reflects all of the construction workers working through those long nights, early mornings. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz. County Executive Poloncarz has been in the position for more than 10 years and is currently serving in his 4th term. County Executive Poloncarz has done so much to help the Bills over the several years that he's been serving. Just like all of us in the crowd, he can't wait to watch Josh Allen win multiple MVPs in this new stadium. And how about a couple AFC championships as well?
Thank you, Maddie. I'm looking forward to that Super Bowl win, tell you the truth. I got to follow the governor, and she's pretty fired up. And now she's going to a budget negotiation in Albany. I hate to be the Speaker of the Assembly or the Leader of the Senate, because they're going to have to deal with the governor, and she is in a good mood. And to all of our guests here, especially those who've come and flown into Buffalo and Erie County, just so you know, this is what our weather is like every day during the spring. It's sunny, it's beautiful. And it just, Mother Nature is shining on us, because it wasn't sunny and beautiful yesterday, and it's going to be a little wet tomorrow, but someone's looking out for us, so thank you. I just want to know, when you stand next to this stadium, the future home of our beloved Buffalo Bills, you realize not only how big the stadium is, but the impact this stadium has had in this community. And all you got to do is look at all the men and women there. Every single one of them who's worked on this. Thousands of construction workers. And it's true, the stories you'll be telling your kids and your grandkids that you were part of the construction and building of this stadium. The first commissioner of the Public Works Department that I had in my administration was John Lafredo. We lost John Lafredo in the last year, and this is something he'd be especially proud of because he worked on the construction of the stadium across the street. And he used to talk about how through all the projects that he Erie County and the other jobs he had, City of Buffalo, that was the one he was most proud of. That was the one he talked to his family about, was building the home of the Buffalo Bills. And that's what this is about. Each and every one of you there is building the home of the Buffalo Bills for the next 30 years, and it's something that we can all be proud of. But we can also be proud of the investment that this had in our community. The thousands of good-paying jobs from our local Buffalo buildings trades. I want to give a shout out to the Buffalo buildings trades and all that they do to create a better community. And I want to thank my partners in Erie County government that are here today who supported this. Of course, our great governor and the delegation in New York State. They took some heat. There was some criticism of this, but I don't know how you can stand next to this and criticize it, because what we've done is ensure the future of this team for 3 more decades, and it's something that has had an incredible economic impact in our community. So to the governor and our friends in state government, thank you for your commitment to this project. Of course, to Terry, Kim, and the entire Pegula family, thank you for your commitment to this community. There are other cities in the United States that want a professional football team, but I can tell you this, they're not getting the Buffalo Bills because of the commitment of this family. I want to thank the entire Buffalo Bills family because I know the hard work that they're putting into this, starting from not only Mr. Pegula, but each and every one of the individuals. They're trying to run a football team, they're trying to win a Super Bowl, and they're building the biggest project in Erie County's history. So thank you, John Polka and your team. And once again, to our friends and construction workers, I just want to thank you for all that you're doing. We got a beautiful day today. It isn't always beautiful when it's on site here. You've worked in some adverse conditions. But this stadium is on time. It's going to open next year. We're going to see Josh Allen running out of that tunnel and the rest of the Buffalo Bills following it. And each and every one of you are the reason that it's here and it's happening today. It'll happen in 2026, and it's something that we can all be proud of. So thank you all for the work that you've done, and go Bills. Thank you all.
Thank you, County Executive Poloncarz. You are so right about the economic impact that this stadium is going to have on Orchard Park, Buffalo, and Western New York as a whole. To finish up today's wonderful lineup of speakers, I'd like to introduce the Commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell. Commissioner Goodell took office nearly 20 years ago and since then has grown the game of football into becoming a global sport that people can't get enough of. I think we should just jump to 20 games because we can't get enough of Buffalo Bills football. This is not a ribbon cutting ceremony. This is a topping out ceremony. I think that speaks to just how important this event is to Commissioner Goodell and how much he cares about each and every NFL team and how much he cares about the brand of the Buffalo Bills. We want to thank him for being here today. He took some time out of his busy schedule to be here in Buffalo.
Thank you. It's a real thrill for a kid from Jamestown, New York, to be here today. Having come to this stadium across the street for many years, And now to see what's behind me, I sort of wish I was a kid going into that stadium, because it is just remarkable. And another shout out for all of you guys. You did it, and thank you for all the hard work and on tough circumstances. So thank you very much. As I mentioned, I'm a Western New Yorker myself, and I think when I think back about the importance of this community, I know how much the Bills mean to this community. It's part of the spirit, it's part of the identity, the grit, the hard work, and I really believe this is going to secure this franchise here for decades. And kids of ours, kids of all those workers are going to be coming to this stadium thinking about the great tradition of the Buffalo Bills, and it doesn't happen without leadership. I want to start with Terry and his family, particularly Kim, who I know we wouldn't be here without Kim's leadership. Thank you, Kim. But Terry wanted to build something that meant something to this community, that was a point of pride for everybody here, and I think he's achieving that. And I think when we see those Buffalo Bills come out on opening day, we'll all feel that even more. So, Terry, thank you for that tremendous leadership. And Governor, to you, I know you did take some heat, but thank you for your leadership. Thank you for standing up strong, your strength. And it wouldn't happen without leadership. And I see this all over the country. Our governor, she stood up and made this happen for this community, for the state of New York. And we are really proud of you, Governor. Thank you. And to our county executive, Mark, thank you. I know it's an ongoing relationship, and these are public-private partnerships. That's how these projects happen all over this country. And without that kind of leadership from the county, the state, it really doesn't happen. So we're proud to be part of that. But most importantly, I want to congratulate the fans. This community has fans like no other community. Their passion, their pride in this community, you can feel it every time you walk into the stadium, but more importantly, when you even watch it on television. And this is going to be a symbol of the Buffalo community and the Buffalo Bills all over the globe for decades to come. And that is going to make me proud every day I see it. And so thank you for that leadership. To the Buffalo Bills fans, to your core, you're as loyal as they get. And I know you can't wait for the next chapter in the history of the Buffalo Bills. So thank you. This is your home. Enjoy it, and I'll see you on opening day. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Goodell. I love that he pointed out Bills Mafia. In a lot of ways, we wouldn't be here today without our loyal fan base who is going to pack the new Highmark Stadium. That concludes our speaking portion of this ceremony. We want to thank you so much for our speakers today. You guys did a wonderful job. At this time, we're going to ask our guests on the stage to join Penny near the beam where we're going to get ready to raise it. Just a reminder to our guests here today, we're going to have a great reception across the street right after. There's going to be a shuttle service taking everyone to that reception. For our elected officials, we have reserved the first shuttle for you. We want to thank everyone so much for coming out today to help celebrate such a big accomplishment. And thank you to those who have put their heart and soul into this project. We are so proud of all the work you have done. I think we can officially call today the first tailgate at the new Highmark Stadium. How do we feel about that? To our guests seated in the crowd, if you would like a better view of the raising of the beam, please feel free to go ahead and exit the tent for that viewing. We'll begin that momentarily. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, quite the impressive lineup of speakers there, from Terry Pagula to Roger Goodell and the county executive governor in between.
Yes, we've heard from all of those speakers, and earlier today, hundreds of those construction workers were signing the beam. You see it there with the American flag and with the New York State flag and the Bills flag, and then you also see the evergreen tree that is on the top of the beam. Now that is a symbolic gesture that goes back centuries and has roots in ancient European customs, but that evergreen tree means the symbol of life and growth, and it represents life, growth, and good luck, even in the face of adversity. It's honoring nature and land, warding off evil or bad luck, and also the celebration of completion and pride. And it serves as a marker of achievement, a symbolic crown placed atop this steel beam to recognize the hard work of the construction crew. That's why that is there.
Yeah, and every one of the speakers made sure that they saluted the construction workers and the thousands that have taken part in the construction of this stadium to this point. And we're only at the halfway point, and you look at the number of man hours that are going to be going into this once the project is complete. 6,222,128 man hours that will be going into the overall construction of the new Bills Stadium, the new Highmark Stadium that is right there in Orchard Park. And there you see Pete Gwelly and Terry Pegula, Governor Kathy Hochul, Roger Goodell, and County Executive.
Right next to Terry Pegula
Yep.
as well. Yep.
County Executive Mark Poloncarz is on the end. And every one of them made mention of Kim Pegula and how she was there in spirit and how she was kind of the driving force in getting this off the ground.
Some of the loudest applause that we heard today was for Terry Pegula when he said today is not about the dignitaries on stage. It's about the hard workers, the men and women who are behind building this stadium that is, all of them, represent those workers that, are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into the stadium that will keep the franchise here in Western New York for decades to come, as Roger Goodell said. But that really evoked a lot of applause from the audience when he said it's not about the dignitaries, it's about the hardworking men and women. I also found it really interesting when Terry said that the groundbreaking with the original rock pile was April 4th, 1972, and he said it cost $22 million. The current Bill Stadium cost $22 million. We're 100 times that right now.
Yeah. It was really a weird coincidence that the groundbreaking for Rich Stadium was the same date as the topping out ceremony for this. And as you can see, that structural steel being raised to the top, and it is the last piece of structural steel. And I thought it was kind of cool when he also said that this isn't a topping out, it's the beginning of the rest of the construction.
Right. We have crews out there right now, including our Nate Benson. Nate, what's happening right there at the ceremony?
Well, right now, right behind me, they are raising the beam right now. I'm not sure if we've got our other camera able to be pulled up at this time, but the thousands of construction workers that are on scene right now they've all got their cell phones out. They've all gathered outside here to watch the final beam of the new Highmark Stadium get risen into the sky. As you can see right now, it's really quite a sight here for all of these construction workers that have been working here for well over 18 months to try and get this stadium complete. All the dignitaries just wrapped up, as you mentioned a short time ago. A few things that stood out was what Roger Goodell said, that this is going to secure the franchise here in Buffalo for decades. Obviously, Terry Pegula pointed out that it was April 4th, 1972, when the groundbreaking of the old Highmark Stadium, shovels were in the ground for that, and now here we are so many years later putting up the final beam of the new Highmark Stadium, which again, as Goodell said, will secure the franchise here for decades. Another thing that stood out to me during the press conference was how Roger Goodell said we wouldn't be here without Kim Pegula. Now, Kim Pegula was not here in person, but Terry and the other members of his family was, and obviously she is here in spirit, as Terry said. And Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, also pointed out that this community has no fans like any other community, and they really stand out. And this will be a symbol for Buffalo all over the globe, and that it will make him proud. So certainly a big day here as that final beam gets risen into the sky with all the hardworking men and women who made this happen over the last 18 months or so when the groundbreaking began back in June of 2023. And here we are after a very long winter. I spoke to one construction worker earlier this morning, and he said it was absolutely brutal winter for them to get all this work done. So certainly, a beautiful day here in Orchard Park, topping off of this beam, Pete and Melissa.
And as we see our drone shot, we got a great vantage point of them putting that last piece in place. And I thought it was kind of cool that Governor Kathy Hochul talking about her memories of Jack Kemp, because we are bridging the gap between all three Bills stadiums with that reference. Jack Kemp, of course, playing in the 60s in the old rock pile, and that team producing two great quarterbacks who were also great politicians.
Yes.
Former County Executive Ed Rutkowski and Jack Kemp, the longtime congressman.
And from the sky view to live shot, it is incredible to see these construction workers walking on the steel beams themselves as they're helping this final steel beam be put into place. I was wondering where it was going to go, so it's really neat to see that it's, part of the roof, part of the canopy there, and it'll be, right now it's got the Bills flag, the American flag, the New York State flag on it, along with hundreds of signatures of some of the construction workers and dignitaries that are there. Again, 1,200 workers on site every day. That's going to go up to 1,500 as we progress, 1,500 per day. And again, that evergreen tree there, that is a symbolic gesture. It represents life, growth, and good luck. It's a symbolic crown of sorts to recognize the hard work of the construction crew. So that's why that is there, and it might stay there until some more work is complete.
Yeah, what was kind of funny was when they were talking, I think it was Roger Goodell talking about the different workers there, the plumbers, the electricians, and then all of a sudden you hear a loud voice say, and the iron workers.
Exactly.
That just shows you the pride.
And their passion.
And their passion, yeah, absolutely, because they're not only there in their profession, they're there representing Bills Mafia in the future.
And Terry Pagula, during his speech, he said, I just had this idea a couple days ago. I want to have some sort of reference or computer system where kids and grandkids and great-grandkids can come to the stadium and look up their mom or their dad or their grandparents who worked on this stadium and be able to say, my dad, my grandpa, my grandma was part of this and helped to build this stadium and keep the Bills here in Buffalo. So that was a nice gesture, and Terry Pagula evoked a lot of applause when he said that. He also started with a great joke. He said, I should congratulate Josh because he makes more than I do now. Yeah. Coming from Terry Pagula, who now I think the Bills are estimated to be worth, or Terry Pagula's net worth is now estimated to be more than $7 billion.
Yeah, we were watching as Mr. Pagula was talking. We've seen him in press conferences over the years, the opening of Harbor Center, the unveiling when he took over the Sabres, this, that, and the other thing. That is the most just calm and personable and just in the moment press conference I've ever seen him give.
Yeah, he doesn't like giving press conferences or isn't really comfortable, to be frank. And so he really spoke to the crowd, spoke to Western New Yorkers, and spoke to Bills Mafia at this topping out ceremony. Again, this is not a ribbon cutting, but we've got Roger Goodell here representing the NFL to be here and congratulate all of the workers who are now putting that final steel beam in place. So it's great to see him. He talked about being a kid from Jamestown. He said it's a real thrill for a kid from Jamestown to be here. And he said, I know how much the Bills mean to this community, and this stadium is securing the franchise here for decades, for at least the next 30 years.
It's almost a shame that they can't have that beam with all the signatures and everything exposed to the public after the stadium is complete.
Yeah.
Because, years from now, you'll see the different people that signed it. We mentioned off the top that at the KeyBank Center, one of the signatures on that last final piece of structural steel was a 7-year-old named Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
And it'll be funny to see, years from now, we'll hear about different people that signed that.
Yeah, and one of them is Norm Marshall. Our Nate Benson has been there all morning, and we spoke with Norm early on in our streaming newscast around 9 a.m., and he is one of the construction managers out there. And Nate grabbed him real quickly for an impromptu interview, and Norm was almost in tears. He works for Gilbane, and he was just talking about how this is so much more than a job, but it's something that he's really proud of, and he knows how important every hour of work that they put in, every minute of work, they need it to be perfect. And he also knows that he's leaving his legacy here, and his his fingerprints are on this stadium, and his grandkids will be able to appreciate it. And so it was really a beautiful interview. We'll be able to post that on online so you can hear what he had to say. But to hear from the real men and women behind the construction of this Bill Stadium is great to hear today, because today is all about them.
Yeah, and how important was it to him? He came out of retirement to work on this stadium. And there are countless stories, and we're going to be gathering those stories throughout the day and have complete coverage throughout the day, both online and also on Channel 2 News throughout the evening.
So again, the ceremonial groundbreaking was June 5th, 2023. We're at April 4th right now, halfway through the construction process and progress, and they do expect to have this open on time in about a year and a half, June or July of 2026, so that the Bills can start playing in it that fall.
Yep, April 4th, 2025, the topping out ceremony. April 4th, 1972, the ribbon cutting or the start of construction at the original Rich Stadium across the street.
So congratulations to all of the men and women and the thousands of workers who are behind this new Bill Stadium. It's been a pleasure to bring you the topping out ceremony, and we're now